Cuba's historic decision to join the BRICS alliance represents a monumental shift in the global economic landscape. This move takes the island nation from decades of political isolation and economic hardship to potentially becoming a key player in a rapidly evolving world order. To understand the significance of this shift, it's crucial to explore how Cuba's inclusion in BRICS could reshape its economic trajectory, influence global trade, and ultimately disrupt traditional geopolitical norms. For over 60 years, the United States has imposed an embargo on Cuba, prohibiting American businesses from engaging in trade with the island and limiting Cuba's access to global financial markets. In the 1960s, after the Cuban Revolution, the U.S. implemented these measures in response to Cuba's shift toward communism, fearing the spread of socialist ideologies in the region. The embargo sought to isolate Cuba economically and politically, pressuring the government to adopt more capitalist policies. Over the years, the sanctions have caused immense economic hardship for the Cuban people. Access to global markets was severely restricted, and Cuba's ability to obtain advanced technology, medical supplies, food, and fuel was crippled. U.S. sanctions prevented Cuba from participating in the global economy, leading to frequent shortages of essential goods, stagnation in infrastructure development, and limited foreign investment. With its limited economic capacity, Cuba was forced to rely on its resourceful and resilient people and its existing alliances with other socialist and non-aligned nations to sustain itself. The sanctions also meant that Cuba faced exclusion from many international financial institutions, such as the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank, further isolating it from international development and credit systems. This exclusion limited the country's ability to secure loans for critical infrastructure projects, industrial development, or public services. The U.S. embargo and other international pressures affected the daily lives of ordinary Cubans in profound ways. The shortage of food and basic necessities such as medicines, fuel, and household items forced many to endure a life of scarcity. The Cuban healthcare system, once one of the best in the region, also began to feel the strain. Though Cuba had become a leader in medical innovation, the embargo hampered the island's ability to access the resources and technologies needed to expand its medical research or develop new treatments. In terms of agriculture, Cuba's once thriving sector began to collapse, as the country struggled to import necessary agricultural tools, seeds, and machinery. Despite these challenges, Cuba's agricultural industry managed to survive in part through innovative methods, such as urban farming and sustainable agricultural practices. These innovations are now poised to gain more recognition as the island integrates more fully into the global economy. The embargo also made it difficult for Cubans to travel, access information, or even establish business ventures with the international community. As a result, the flow of ideas and innovation into Cuba was severely stifled. The isolation, both economically and politically, became a defining feature of Cuban life and culture. Despite the immense pressure from the embargo and global isolation, Cuba's resilience allowed it to survive and even innovate under some of the harshest conditions. The country became known for its educational achievements, particularly in medical research, and for its strong emphasis on healthcare and biotechnology. Despite the lack of resources, Cuba developed one of the world's most efficient and affordable healthcare systems, producing its own vaccines and medicines to address various diseases. This innovation allowed Cuba to maintain its health standards, even when its access to international drugs and medical technologies was limited. The Cuban people's ingenuity also extended to agriculture, energy, and technology. For instance, the Cuban government focused on fostering local production of goods and services to reduce dependency on imports. This included investing in alternative energy sources, such as solar and wind power, as well as fostering scientific research in various sectors. However, despite these successes, the embargo remained a significant obstacle. The lack of international support, along with the inability to freely access global trade, hindered Cuba's full economic potential. Yet, Cuba's strategic shift towards new partnerships, particularly with countries like Venezuela, Russia, and China, has allowed it to diversify its trade relationships and create alternative financial networks. But it wasn't until Cuba's membership in BRICS that the island began to see a truly transformative opportunity for integration on the global stage. The inclusion of Cuba as an associate member of BRICS represents the beginning of a new chapter in the country's history. BRICS, comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, has established itself as a powerful coalition of emerging economies. Together, these countries represent over 45% of global GDP, and their growing influence is reshaping the global economic order. Cuba's entry into BRICS allows it to tap into a wealth of opportunities that were previously unavailable to it. By joining BRICS, Cuba gains access to a diverse range of economic, trade, and financial resources. One of the most significant benefits is Cuba's ability to bypass the US dollar, which has been a key tool in enforcing the embargo. BRICS countries have developed alternatives to the dollar-dominated financial system, allowing Cuba to trade directly with these nations in alternative currencies, or even barter systems. This flexibility opens up new trade opportunities and economic channels that circumvent the restrictions imposed by US sanctions. Cuba also gains access to critical development funds from BRICS's development banks, such as the New Development Bank, NDB, which finances large-scale infrastructure projects in member countries. This financial lifeline could enable Cuba to invest in modernizing its energy infrastructure, healthcare system, and other key sectors that have been neglected for years due to limited access to international capital. Cuba's geographical location provides it with strategic importance for global trade, particularly for BRICS nations looking to expand their influence in the Western Hemisphere. Positioned just 90 miles off the coast of Florida, Cuba is ideally situated to serve as a critical gateway for BRICS trade into North and South America. The port of Mariel, one of Cuba's most important infrastructure assets, is poised to become a key point in the BRICS supply chain, allowing goods to be moved efficiently between the Americas and BRICS countries. The port of Mariel, which has already been expanded to accommodate larger vessels, is a central piece of Cuba's logistics strategy. It has the potential to become a regional hub for international trade and even innovation, as Cuba looks to integrate with BRICS countries on key issues such as sustainable energy, medical research, and technology. The port could evolve beyond its logistical function, evolving into a focal point for collaboration, particularly in the fields of science and technology. Cuba's role in BRICS extends far beyond its strategic position. The island's long-standing leadership in medical research and biotechnology positions it as a valuable partner in collaborative projects with BRICS nations. Cuba has pioneered affordable vaccines and medical treatments that have been deployed in countries around the world. This expertise can now be shared through joint ventures with BRICS countries, which can help scale Cuba's innovations and make them accessible to broader global markets. The BRICS alliance, with its focus on sustainable development, is also well aligned with Cuba's priorities in renewable energy and sustainable agriculture. Cuba has long championed the use of clean energy and organic farming practices, and through BRICS, it can access new resources and technologies to accelerate these efforts. The alliance's emphasis on environmental sustainability and the fight against climate change will provide Cuba with the opportunity to lead in green energy projects and contribute to global efforts in mitigating environmental challenges. Cuba's integration into BRICS is not just an economic shift, but also a geopolitical one. The United States has long maintained hegemony in the Western Hemisphere, with the embargo serving as one of its primary tools to keep Cuba isolated. However, with the rise of BRICS and the growing irrelevance of US-led economic policies, Cuba's entry into the alliance represents a direct challenge to US influence in the region. The support of countries like Russia and China, who have been strong advocates for Cuba's inclusion in BRICS, highlights a broader shift toward a multipolar world. As the BRICS countries continue to develop alternative financial systems and trade networks, Cuba's strategic alignment with these powers offers it the chance to free itself from the constraints of US sanctions and establish itself as a key player in the global economy. Cuba's entry into BRICS marks the beginning of a transformative journey for the nation. The support of BRICS nations offers Cuba the tools it needs to overcome decades of economic isolation, boost its trade and development opportunities, and solidify its position as a global player in the 21st century. Through this partnership, Cuba has the chance to modernize its infrastructure, enhance its technological and medical research capabilities, and elevate its global stature. As Cuba navigates this new chapter, key questions remain. Will BRICS be the catalyst Cuba needs to fully break free from US sanctions? How will Cuba's integration accelerate the shift towards a multipolar world? What are the long-term impacts of this transformation on international trade and geopolitical dynamics? The answers to these questions will not only shape Cuba's future but also contribute to the broader realignment of global power. The rise of BRICS and Cuba's participation in this alliance will undoubtedly play a pivotal role in shaping the global economy and geopolitics in the coming decades.